Hey everybody, I am not doing a grocery haul this week because I didn't go shopping, but I've wanted to do a garden update for a while, and so today I'm going to show you what's growing in my garden. So here you are looking at the garden, the raised beds. I think I have 12 raised beds, and 4 of them are not being used. So I'll just start right here. We've got peppers. I wish I would have done this last week before it rained, but it's kind of weedy again. Anyways, these are my cucumbers, and the peppers and cucumbers were just nursery plants that I bought and replanted. Like, there are only 4 cucumber plants in that raised bed, but it's been really producing like crazy, so that's pretty awesome. This is one of my empty beds. I did plant. The nursery had 1 watermelon plant left, and that's what it looks like, guys. So for those of you that think I'm just lucky because I have a green thumb, I'm not. I think people get a green thumb only after they've killed so many plants, and the more plants you kill, the greener your thumb is, because you learn how to grow better. And here we have some lettuce. That's my lettuce patch. It's kind of starting to bolt, so I'm thinking lettuce season is almost over for the summer. I'll try to plant some more for this fall. And the rest of this here is cilantro and dill, and I let that grow because I had read that it deters bugs. Whether it actually does, I am not sure. So over here, I've got some experimental items. I've got calendula, which did awesome. I planted that from seed, and I've been picking the flower heads off to dry. And then these are my mangel beets. They're like gigantic beets that people use for animal fodder. And they looked a lot better about 2 weeks ago, and then some bugs got to them. I tried sprinkling flour over the top, and that was for the grasshoppers, and I think it really helped because there's not very many bugs on them anymore. It's just that they did all that damage before I saw what was going on. And then underneath here, I planted some carrots, and like the past year, my carrots have not been doing great. I can't really get them to germinate, and I thought it was because I put it in a raised bed, but apparently not, because this year I didn't do that. I just put them in the ground, and they're still not growing for me. So here I've got my sweet corn patch. Well, one of my sweet corn patches. There's another one on the other side. And I have to go through and weed this, but I mulched these earlier in the year, and it really helps to keep down the weeds, and it didn't take very long. So I'm glad I did that. They're kind of short to be tasseling, and I'm not sure why. I'm going to try a different variety next year, and then maybe do some research and see why that's happening. But that's my sweet corn, and then right next to my sweet corn I planted onions. And like the carrots, my onions just, I might get, I don't know, 5 or 6 onions, but they just didn't germinate very well. And I don't know why. Again, I'll do some more research. I want to keep trying on the onions because seeds are cheap enough to do that. But we'll see, because I just don't know if they're worth doing. So those are my weedy onions. So this plot is nothing. I just let that grow into grass because I didn't have anything to put in it. And then this one I did cover, but you can see the weeds have kind of grown over my little pieces of foam that I put down there. There's just some more dill here. And this is my mint garden, and it has some rhubarb, but as you can see, the bugs have been getting into that, and I don't really want the rhubarb there permanently, so I'll probably move that either this fall or next spring. and just let the mints grow in this bed. And here is, this is my new project. This is my second herb bed, right next to the mint bed. And I've got some lavender, little tiny lavender plant started from seed here in the corner. And I planted 3 of these that survived to seedlinghood, and 2 of them survived the transplant. So there's my second one, and then the 3rd one died. And this was a volunteer hot pepper. I'm just going to keep that there and let that grow me some hot peppers to dry and use for the winter. And then this, I bought 2 new herb seeds this year from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds to try, and they worked awesome. I'm going to continue buying from them for sure because everything did great that I ordered from them. But this is, I don't know if it's hyssop or, what was the other one? Horehound. There's 2. One is hyssop and one is horehound, and I don't know which one is which, so I have to look at the picture again. But those I started from seed, and they are perennials, so they'll be back next year, which is awesome. And then over here I have some milk thistle, and this is the kind that does increase your milk production when you're nursing, and that's why I bought it. I planted 2 plants, but that one there isn't doing so hot. But this one's doing pretty well, and I don't remember if that's a perennial or not. So these 3 beds are strawberries. This one is supposed to be strawberries, but I didn't weed it very well, and I didn't keep it mulched, so it's mostly grass, to be honest. This one is nothing. I didn't have enough organic matter to fill it last year, so it's kind of half full. Hopefully I'll get that filled this year. And then this is the strawberry bed that I did keep weeded better. It still has some grass in there, but you can see it's mostly strawberries. Then that way over there is my pumpkin patch. That did pretty well. And then in the background I've got my strawberries. So, like I said, it rained. Everything needs weeded again, but that's okay. My pumpkins are doing awesome. And over here, I can't even see anything. There's so many weeds. I replanted some onions that I had planted from sets last year, and I just didn't use them. They were too small to use. So I went ahead and planted them in the garden, and I might get seeds. I think I'll probably save those seeds and try to use that for my onion seed next year. And supposedly there's some onions down here, but I don't even see them anymore. So those were part of my failed onion sprouting experiment. And this was a bed that I kept empty, except I had a tomato plant pop up there, so I left it there. I've been pulling out most of my volunteer tomatoes because they just take over, but I thought this bed has nothing else in it, and so I'm just going to let that tomato plant grow and give me some tomatoes because I did not plant tomatoes this year intentionally. And the same thing with this bed. This was empty too. This is kind of my leftover bed. I let that volunteer tomato grow, and these were 2 peppers that I had left over that didn't fit in my pepper bed. So I just put them over here. And those are my raised beds. As you can see, I keep a sprinkler here permanently, and I just turn that on when I think it needs some water. So that's a nice, easy system. And then over here we have more weeds. You can see I started weeding behind that bucket there. I just didn't finish because I had lunch to make or something. And I've got some blazing star flowers growing here. It looks like grass, but that is actually a flower. That'll pop up next year. Oh, there's one you can see right there. You can see the flower head coming out. So, and then I have a little patch of glads. I love glads. And those are particularly beautiful. Look at that. They're like purple stamens and yellow throats, and I don't know. Really nice. And then this was the rest of my row. I actually didn't put any flowers in. So I'm going to have my husband till this. All these things that are just weeds. But yeah, I didn't put anything in there. I'll probably put something in next year. A perennial flower. And then my delphiniums amazingly, there's still some there after months and months of blooming. Most of them have gone to seed, which I'm going to keep some of those seeds and start some more delphiniums probably. But yep, those are my delphiniums and my perennial flowers. This is my second patch of sweet corn, and this was just the leftovers from the packet. I had staked out like a 4 by 12 square way over on the other side of the garden for sweet corn, and I had leftover kernels, so I was like, well, I'll just plant them over here because I had some ground that was tilled up, and so I mulched that. These did not get watered as well, so they're kind of spindly looking and not as nice and full, but they're still tasseling and making ears of corn, so we'll see how that works out. And then over here I planted some more perennial herbs and flowers. This is marshmallow, like the actual plant marshmallow. Over here, behind the marshmallow plant, I have bells of Ireland, and that's a flower. You might actually, if you do flower arranging at all, or if you buy flower arrangements, you might recognize it. So I tried that. That came up really well. Again, another Baker Creek heirloom seeds product. And then I planted some sunflowers here. Those are doing pretty well. Those are just leftovers from another year's seed packet. And then down here I have some more leftovers. It's 2 zinnia plants. That's like all that grew out of my whole packet of zinnias. Lastly, I've just got some lilies here. They're all done, obviously. Those are some pink, like, stargazer lilies. And then over here I have some herbs and some grass that's growing with my sage. There's a big old sage plant there. Then I've got my lavender plant down here from last year that I started from seed. That's doing really well. I think I'm going to transplant that to be with the other lavender plants in the raised bed. And then there's just some thyme or oregano over here. I'm not sure which one it is. As a bonus for you all, I've got my porch pots. There's my corn. It's pretty pitiful. It's short. And I don't see any ears yet, even though it's tasseling. So we'll see how that turns out. And then of course my lettuce over here, I cut it completely back because I had used most of it. And so now it's kind of trying to regrow. And I don't know if that'll be any good or if it'll be bitter, but that's the lettuce pot. That's the corn pot with a big weed in it. And then this is just another plant. I think it's a mimosa, but I'm not sure. I started it from seed. So I don't know how long that one's gonna last or if I even want to keep it around. So if you can't tell, I'm kind of a lazy gardener. I do enjoy it and I spend a lot of time out there, but probably half of my time is spent on new stuff. I get bored pretty easily, so for example the cucumbers and peppers, I feel like I've kind of got that down, and sweet corn too. So that's something I try to spend as little time as possible on. Well, like I said, the beds were all ready. I just went to the nursery, didn't bother with seed starting or anything like that. So after I kind of master a vegetable as far as like getting it to grow and not letting it die, then I'll either try to like fine-tune it by finding the right variety and doing all that stuff, or I'll just make it as easy as possible, because when I get tired of planting a certain thing, it just becomes another household chore, and I want to do it as fast and as easy and as painless as possible. So you can kind of see that's happened with some of the stuff out there. I don't try to keep it super nice. I just want it to produce food, right? So that is my garden update. I hope you guys are having a great day.